Driven by youthful introspection, this is the Known Podcast. Today's guest, Cole Fortman, also known as the Grilled Cheese Dude.
My name is Cole Fortman, also known as the Grilled Cheese Dude. And, I've been known to make some good grilled cheese from time to time for some notable people.
Yeah, and so I'll just kind of get into the gist of, this is not our first time being in an interview together, so that's why I kind of started that way. Back when I was a podcaster at DePaul University, I interviewed Cole, who I really just knew as the Grilled Cheese Dude at that point, because I saw him making grilled cheeses for Cole Bennett and Jack Harlow, Supreme Patty, but it was really the Lyrical Lemonade, that Chicago connection that I saw, and it really attracted me towards what you do and how you do it, because at that time you were just this social media grilled cheese entity to me. I didn't know how you got to working with these people, and you even had some incredible stories about it, but that's what we talked about a lot last time. You should kind of want to go over a little bit of who you are as Cole and who you are as the Grilled Cheese Dude a little bit.
Totally. So, a few years ago, I moved to Chicago, and initially I tried to do freelance videography, and then my camera got stolen a month into my, lease. So I figured I gotta do something else now. And money is pretty tight. So grilled cheese is something that I really like, and it's really cheap to make. I just didn't like, the plain white bread craft single version, so I wanted to make my own version. So I just experimented for a while, from having a lot of munchies over a long period of time, and now it's where it's at today, I guess you could say. And it's just been through a lot of experimentation, a lot of trial and error. And just a lot of people seem to respond to the grilled cheese the most of all the things I've tried. But as Cole, I also do, freelance marketing service kind of stuff. I do web design, shit like that. But yeah, I just kind of do that on the side too. That's what pays most of the bills, but the grilled cheese, it's in there a little bit. Well, prior to COVID, it was a lot more, but
yeah. And what I think is interesting about the story of getting your camera stolen and all that, you went through so many trials and tribulations that we talked about last time, and it seems like a lot of that just sort of led to opportunities that got you to a place that you wanted to be. So were they things that you wanted to deal with? No, but they were hurdles that you overcame, and you got your camera stolen. We're filming on your camera right now.
Yeah, this is my camera you guys are seeing right now.
I think that's in and of itself proof that you're doing something right. But yeah, and something else too is just your social media presence now is just elevated so much, exponentially over the years. For reference, our first interview was about 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. Still to this day, one of my favorite interviews. And since then, you have a website and a bunch of services on there as well. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. I pulled it up.
Totally.
But yeah, you open the website and you got home, clothing, click if you dare, events and booking, and book a personal chef session. And I love how when you do the click on it if you dare, it brings it right to your YouTube and it tells you confirm channel subscription.
Yeah, marketing.
Precisely. But you click on your YouTube channel, the Jack Harlow reviewing my grilled cheese has 594,000 views. And at the time when we did that interview, I think you had just done that interview. And that was that was sort of, I remember the last straw for me where I was I have to talk to this dude before he becomes too big for me to interview.
3 slices of bread. I've never experienced anything like that. The 3 slices set it off the rip, but that pepper jack, it just hit different. Top 3, maybe top 1 grilled cheeses I've ever had, no lie.
Thank you.
Shit was crazy. Delicious. Left hand shake.
Still seeing that leverage today. That interview from 2 years ago, you posted on your channel 1 year ago. It's sitting at 594K, and your subscriber numbers, viewer numbers are all going up, and that all leads to your brand. That one video, that one experience. But it's not just that. So much led up to that experience. Losing your camera somehow, some way led up to that Jack Harlow thing.
Oh yeah, I filmed that on my iPhone too.
Exactly, and that's still, it's it doesn't, it doesn't matter that you filmed on your iPhone too, because just looking at the cover banner, it's a picture of Jack Harlow and a cheese, and it says the pepper jack just hit different. And that's like so perfectly encompasses this 19-second viral clip that you actually got. I think was it Bars? The Instagram account had about 1 million or something subscribers or followers on Instagram, and they posted your content and they like didn't credit you.
Nope, they never do.
They never do. And I remember like I was like, nah, this is not right.
Can't let this happen.
Exactly. I hate seeing it happen to other people, but when I know someone, I'm like, okay, now it's personal. So like I DM'd them and said like, yo, give my dude credit. And then I don't know if I told you, but they viewed my Instagram story that day. So they definitely saw my message. And I'm sure you messaged them as well, and they ended up actually giving you credit.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I emailed them too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
how
emailed
you
them,
know.
DM'd them the same day.
And they gave him credit. They were, and from what you told me, they were pretty nice about it.
Oh yeah, they were chill about it too.
That's awesome too. So like getting credit for the things, and that's just like, it's one of those things of social media. It's just a trapping of getting exposure but not getting credit for it. Mm-hmm. And like we're in an age where like obviously everybody wants a certain degree of clout. Yeah. And I think they deserve a certain degree of clout. So you got these essentially corporations saying, "Oh, money, no, how about clout?" You know,
yep.
You know, clout's worth something. But you know, at the end of the day, for someone like you and I that take what we do pretty seriously, for me being podcasting and media and all this, and you being grilled cheese and your personal like marketing, it's like we take these things seriously. And it's sort of, do you find it like offensive when people offer exposure or anything like that, or do you ever get that?
I get that a lot sometimes, you know. Like I don't know, like when I first got started it was cool because, you know, I wasn't that big or I didn't have a lot of like you know, people I could like really say like, oh, I've done stuff for this person and this person. But now that I have that, I don't really, you know, do anything for free as much anymore.
Yeah, and especially like on your site, again, like you list just the people that you've interviewed. Here, I'll go back here. But you just have like on the main page, just people I've cooked for. And like, once you see that you made a grilled cheese for Ski Mask the Slump God, you can't have some Joe Schmo with like 10K followers being like, but I'm kind of famous.
Yeah, it's like
it doesn't work like that.
Nah, you know? Man. Plus, like, how do I know those 10K followers are real?
And 9 times out of 10, they're not.
Exactly. Like, you know, I do like, you know, it's not hard to figure out.
Exactly. That, and you've had, obviously, like, you look at these, like, essentially this proof, and I love having this because I have an online portfolio myself of the people I've interviewed.
Yeah, you got it.
And you have a portfolio of the people you've cooked for.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people, I feel like, that are in fields where it's like, yeah, I don't know if a website's for me or this or that.
Everyone needs a website.
It's like the more out of the loop sort of thing it is, like making grilled cheeses, where it's not like, oh, I'm not a writer, I'm not, you know, a business person, where it's like that just gives you so much room for creativity to make it something like, I haven't seen something like this before. I actually want to stay on the website.
Oh, I really appreciate that. You know, that's actually one of my first websites I ever made. So, you know, there's a lot of trial and error. Just watched a bunch of YouTube videos. Just kind of, you know, winged it. But yeah, it turned out pretty good, I think.
Are YouTube tutorials is that like school?
Oh yeah, I watch YouTube like probably 5 hours a day, 1.5 speed if it's a tutorial, you know, and I just go right through them, you know. If it's like an hour 50 long video, I'll just kind of space it out across the day and just kind of, you know, like I recently had a web design client and I did like the entire website I did for them. I just, you know, it was on a platform I'd never used before, and I watched an hour-long video, and I was pretty much doing their website in that 1 hour. I did like the bulk of it, and they were really happy with it, and it was like easy $750, just right there, boom.
Man.
For a 1 hour tutorial, that's it.
And that's the YouTube thing, and it's so funny because I'm just finding so many like sort of similarities between the way that we do things and the YouTube Academy, essentially.
Exactly.
That's how I learned like a lot of the intricate technicalities of podcasting, how things should sound and things like that. And then when you take that on top of the creativity that you already have and like the drive you have to like, for you make websites and make grilled cheeses, and for me like podcasting, writing and content creation, it's like, yes, I've had the benefit of being able to go to college and things like that, but at the end of the day, YouTube is still the thing that I go to time and time again for when I need help, because it's another person teaching me these things. Yeah, and something else I thought was super interesting, especially sort of like connecting to where we were last time. I had so many stories that I wanted to ask you about. I wanted to ask you about turning up with the Lyrical Lemonade boys on your 21st. I wanted to talk about the Jack Harlow grilled cheese.
You know I'm with the grilled cheese, dude. He got me right. Grilled cheese, one of mankind's masterpieces. Shout out to my man.
Right now, we're in a state where it's like, it's the pandemic. Everyone's kind of like focused on what they're doing. So do you have anything planned coming up?
Not really. I think I was thinking about what I don't want to do for my next big bike trip, and I think I want to go to the East Coast this time.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I'm gonna do that, but that's definitely what I think I'm gonna do for like, hopefully maybe like when fall, like before fall, of course.
Yeah.
But
especially going to the East Coast, man.
yeah,
Cold.
usually if it's the West Coast, you do that in the fall. But I just like I want to go to the East Coast, so check it out.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting, like, that you're making websites, in that a website is meant to show the best of whatever someone has to offer, whether it be a company, an individual, an online portfolio. It's meant to say, hey, look at me and look at this cool ass shit I do and how good I am at doing it.
Exactly.
And now that you're making websites and you've made one for yourself, did that sort of like organization and structuralization of like putting it together, putting that information all about you together, did that give you sort of like a heightened perspective of like what you do and sort of how you do it? Because I kind of felt that when I made mine.
It definitely gave me a lot of confidence to be able to actually charge people for websites after that point, because I was like, I showed it to like 5 people and they were like, oh yeah, I'd buy stuff off of this. And I was like, all right. And then I actually got sales off of it from, just my social media following. So at that point I was like, all right, I can definitely charge people for websites now. And then haven't stopped learning all the ins and outs yet of websites and stuff.
Something this is just something I feel like I have to ask with it coming up. Summer Smash was announced.
Oh yeah.
Do you plan on making any moves with
Possibly.
that?
I'm gonna, I'll see what the guys say.
Yeah.
I don't know what the COVID situation is gonna be like around then.
Yeah, I mean, they announced it because they also announced Riot Fest. I don't know if you saw the yesterday, but yeah, like with everything with like how it's going, it's kind of hard, especially with like press and stuff like that. But what's your relationship like with the Lyrical Lemonade guys, like Cole Bennett and all them?
I mean, we kind of just follow each other on social media, and that's about it, really. I don't really talk to them like extensively.
Yeah, he's on his industry stuff right now. I think he just filmed an Oozing video.
I mean, they're always working, so it's like, I'm surprised if they can really, talk to a lot of people at all. But yeah, I mean, we're both doing our own things, but
absolutely.
Whenever they want a grilled cheese, they know where to go.
They know exactly where to go. I asked you last time about your 21st with the Lemonade Boys, and if you could just sort of go over that again, because I just think that's so interesting.
Totally. I mean, it was
this is your 21st birthday, right?
So it was the day. So it was like March. My birthday is March 13th, and my one of them, Lil Jake, hit me up to make him grilled cheese on March 12th, the day before, and I was just working all day, like worked like full shift as a window washer. And then he calls me up and he was like, "Hey, you want to make grilled cheese for us tonight?" And I was like, "Sure." And I'd never made grilled cheese for like all of them at that point yet. So yeah, as soon as I got home from work, I just packed my bike up, rushed to the store, got all the ingredients, and just headed on down to them and just made grilled cheese. And it was getting pretty late, so we were kind of sitting around getting a little drunk and stuff. And then the clock turned to midnight, and it was officially 20. I was officially 21, so. We just got really drunk. And
how'd you break that to them that you were turning 21? Was it like oh, what you doing tonight, Cole? I'm turning 21. Or like, well, how'd that go?
I just kind of
because I can just picture you just being like, I don't remember exactly, just being like, oh yeah, I'm 21.
Yeah, it was like very nonchalant, like how you imagine. But like, I'm trying to remember how because I was very drunk, so it's hard to remember exactly how I said it. But I imagine it's like I was kind of like, oh shit, it's guys, 21 now, like something like that.
Happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
And they're like, what?
So yeah, that was pretty fun. Definitely, a very story-worthy 21st birthday, I would say.
Yeah, man, and very, from what it seems like for me, also like one of those pivotal moments in your career. Just as that's the thing, I want to call you like a grilled cheese artist, but now you also make websites. Like, what's your buzzword title?
Official title?
What is it? Yeah.
Well, there's a couple. I like to think like professional learner, you could say, because I just love learning stuff, and just like any skill you need me to do, I'll learn it and then I'll do it. Or one that I really like that I think I'm gonna like make a whole book about is called Internaut, like astronaut, but for the internet.
I was gonna say, you spelling that with an O-T or A-T?
No, yeah, like I-N-T. And then someone like, just someone who knows how to really use the internet to like the most of its capabilities. Like, there's so many sites that no one knows about that if they knew about them, they would be just on them every day.
Like what?
Like, there's sites where you can buy, websites that are just already making money, like just like blogs that are just sitting there and you don't have to do anything to them. They're making like $400 a month. You can buy the whole site for like $15,000 and it's just yours, and you can put more work into it and then flip it and sell it for more money. There's just like a whole online world of just people who are building up websites. Like, websites are like property.
So you're like buying and selling e-commerce sites or like blog sites?
Well, you can do it with anyone.
Okay.
Like literally any site that at all that makes money, you can do this with. And there's sites, there are whole marketplaces that just sell, it's like a marketplaces for websites.
That is so interesting.
Some of them are like millions of dollars, but they're making $20,000 a month profit, so.
Yeah. That sounds like something that comes with being an internaut.
Yeah, I definitely like that, because every single person I show these sites to, they're like, no way, this is legit. And I'm like, what do you mean this is not? Like,
That disbelief is a good thing, because that means I'm in my bag now.
Exactly.
You're still figuring out why I'm in my bag.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how you got to do it, man.
Yeah, like I can't stress enough. Like, websites are like real estate investments, pretty much. Because if you have a high traffic website, you can make, it's like pretty much like YouTube AdSense, but just from the traffic on the website. Last year, when COVID was just like pretty much, like March-ish, February, March-ish, when it was like about to peak.
Yeah.
I actually received an offer from a ghost kitchen facility for 3 months of rent for free, just pay utilities. And I also talked to someone who was, they were interested in investing in my ghost kitchen. I was, I was just like going back and forth between the ghost kitchen people and my potential investor, but unfortunately things didn't work out. So had to keep doing my thing.
Yeah, but that moment too is like, I feel like even that coming up, is that like a confidence booster for you?
Oh, definitely. Because now, just being able to say, I almost opened my own, restaurant, kind of, thing. Because ghost kitchens aren't, full restaurants. But,
Dude, 2 years ago, you were telling me, you're like, I want to open a ghost kitchen. I was like, what the hell is a ghost kitchen?
Yeah.
And now they're not only everywhere, but you were this close to making it be like that. And
very close.
For me, when I get super close to something and I don't get it, I often sort of dwell in the what ifs of it. How do you pull yourself out of that?
Oh man, trust me, it was hard at the very beginning, dude. As soon as I pretty much as I found out, all right, it's definitely not happening anymore. It felt the best way to describe, I'd say, is remember the SpongeBob SquarePants movie when he finds out he's not going to be the manager of the Krusty Krab 2? That's how it felt at the very beginning.
You did not get the job.
But why?
Because I was like, man, I just really want to make grilled cheese full time, and that would have been the quickest way to do it.
Yeah.
But it took me a month or two, and I kind of was like, all right, if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. I'll just keep doing my own thing. Maybe in 5 years I'll open an even better one or something like that. Because with something like that would have been a lot of commitment, time commitment, money commitment. It would have been very stressful, of course, being a business. Mm-hmm. So I look at it as something that could have been very good, but could have easily has gone, just been another failure down the road.
Exactly.
Further down the road.
And it's the experiences leading up to that moment that really matter, and especially when you look at it retroactively as I'm glad that I was even able to approach a situation like this. Like, I've been lucky enough to like get really close and get the thing like a lot. Like, I've just been very lucky in like a lot of like my press. Because I look at interviews now where it's like, if I want to interview somebody, I can be like, okay, here's all these celebrities that you know that like I've interviewed. So like when I started off the interview with like, you're our second guest after these like Oscar winning people, it's like, because that's the truth.
Exactly.
That's
like...
the truth, and that's what I find interesting about like, I don't like to treat my subjects or anything different. Like, am I more like formal, uptight? Like, yeah, of course, because I'm on like either a web conference or something like that, but like, it doesn't make you less interesting. It doesn't make him less interesting or like something like that. It's like, no matter what it is, there is something intrinsic inside there that makes it very engaging and interesting. But with you, man, it's so easy because grilled cheese, websites,
biking.
Yeah, you just have so much. A story that I want to touch on is you took a really long bike ride. Like, I normally, when I take a long bike ride, it's probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I'm like, man, I'm proud of myself. How long was your bike ride?
About like somewhere in the range of 45 days.
Okay, that humbles me. Explain that. Where'd you go?
I biked from Arizona, about 200 miles from the border of California. I started right there in Arizona. From there to Chicago.
Obviously, I want to get into the specifics of like where'd you go, what'd you do. But starting off, like what pushed you to make a decision to make this long of a trip?
Oh well, I'd always wanted to do a bike trip across the country. So like this is more of an excuse to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So like I was gonna do it regardless if I even did grilled cheese stuff or not with it. So I was like, well, I might as well pair the two.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, like when I got this bike, I got it right before the trip. Didn't really know much about the bike that well. Obviously, I had some mechanical problems that I had to learn how to solve just right there on my own. And over the course of the trip, I like learned the ins and outs of the bike. I learned the ins and outs of just how to live on a bike, how to like just make every day as smooth as possible and as easy to keep riding. And by the time I got to Chicago, it was like I was like, man, I could do this for as long as I need to. Like if I could just make money like remotely, which now I can.
Yeah, like how do you like training that mentality of being able to live off of your bike? Just that as a prospect for someone like me is just absolutely terrifying, of just taking away that comfortable security that I'm used to of a bed and a place to rest and all this stuff. So what was that? What was your process like, and how did you prepare yourself? And like your mentality must have changed over the course of those 45 days.
I mean, tents are pretty secure, I'd say. I don't know, in my opinion, I like tents, and sleeping bag's pretty warm. When you're in the desert, you only need a sleeping bag to keep you warm. For me, like when I'm trying to plan on living on my bike for like 2 years in the next, I don't know when. I want to do it in the next year at least, I'd say. And for this, I would like really just, my plan is to get the nicest of everything. So like a really nice tent, really nice sleeping bag, just all like the higher end camping equipment. And I think that's really what it takes to be able to live on a bike comfortably and be able to like just keep going, So
essentially that 45-day trip, it obviously was so much for you, but it was kind of a leading up to this plan that you have of taking a 1 to 2 year?
Yeah, I want to try to go for 2 years.
Did you always know you wanted to do 2 years, like before the 45, or is this like with time become like an objective of yours?
Well, ideally, I want to see the whole world by bike. So I don't know how long that's gonna take, but if I can go longer than 2 years, fuck it, I'll do that. I'll go for 10 years if I really feel like it. But I think 2 is just a good benchmark to set for my first. Once I hit 2, I'll be like, okay, now we can set a new benchmark.
Yeah. In those 45 days, is there like a moment that sort of sticks out to you that sort of resembles what that meant for you and what that whole experience was? Because I know you mentioned you would go to colleges and make grilled cheeses. So I kind of like talk about that a little bit, I guess.
Oh yeah, so I mean, the whole point of the trip was just to spread the word across the country about the grilled cheese hustle. So I just showed up to ASU one day. It was the first college, and literally just started asking people. I was like, hey, you know, I'm trying to sell grilled cheese. Where should I go? And luckily enough, there was as I was biking, another cyclist kind of just like, you know, was like, hey, you know, are you doing a bike ride right now, like a bike tour? And I was like, yeah. And he also went to ASU, so he kind of gave me the inside scoop on where to go sell my grilled cheese. And I went to, like, he actually invited me to his classroom. So I was like in his class, just this random ASU, like, you know, sculpture class or something like that. And one of the girls in his class was like, well, I'll buy some grilled cheese off of you. And I was like, sweet. And then she was my first customer. Her name was Josephine, I believe. And yeah, she bought like 2 or 3 grilled cheeses, one for her friend. And I was like, all right. Got my first one down. That was easy, you know?
That was the fizzle in the beginning?
Yep, that was like all I need. Like, that was like, once I hit that, I was like, all right, the proof is now there. It works.
This man is here and he's making grilled cheeses.
And they're paying for it.
And so what led after that? Where did that lead?
So from there, I just, you know, I asked them, like, where should I go from here? Like, what's a good, you know, direction, like college town? And they said, you know, they gave me like just a bunch, you know, really. I don't remember exactly, but I just kind of didn't go to any of them, and I just went straight to Boulder. I was like, well, you know, I need to be at home by like October so I can actually like start paying rent again, because I was paying rent this whole time.
Oh,
that's what sucks, is I just save up a lot of money, and then as like over the course of the trip, it was just like $600, or like no, not $600. It was like at the time my rent was like $650 or something. But yeah, so if the trip went any longer, I would have gone bankrupt pretty much. So I had to make a certain time period.
So you had a deadline.
Yeah, I had a deadline.
Wow, that's the tough part too, because it sounds like you're going there and back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was trying to go there and back, but I just I was trying to go from LA to Chicago, but my ride out there broke down in Arizona, and that's why I just had to start from there. So yeah, and like I didn't have any spare tubes or anything, because I was planning on getting spare tubes and stuff in LA once we got there.
Yeah.
But we broke down on like this, you know, just right off the interstate. So I just had to like literally just start my trip from this like, you know, it was like, I think it was like an RV campsite. We just like, I just left from there. And I was like, all right, time to go to Chicago. In this middle, like this like small dinky ass RV town in Arizona.
That's insane. And with this 1-year trip, like, where do you want to go?
Oh man, well, if COVID opens the world up again, I'd like to, you know, go to Europe for sure. And then from Europe, go to like, you know, maybe Asia or Africa. You know, those are both enticing.
So you're leaving the country.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here.
So this 1-year trip will for sure be out of the country, though.
If the world opens up.
Okay, yes.
If not, I'm just gonna explore the States, you know.
Just keep going?
Keep going, you know. There's this one guy I follow on Instagram who's he was starting in Patagonia, like southern tip of South America, and right now he's in Mexico and he's biking up to Alaska. There's like people that do this, you know. It's like nothing to them.
Does that, like, seeing other people do it, does that make you want to do it?
No,
like,
totally.
Even more?
Yeah, like so when I was in high school, I discovered this one guy like named Ultra Romance, and I was like, damn, this guy is like literally like who I could, you know, see myself being like in 15 years, you know, because he's been living like on his bike like 6 months, at a time, 6 months off for like 5 years, and he's like fully, you know, on the bike for like, you know, I don't even know how many years, and he just, you know, he was an expert at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And he had amassed a really large following on Instagram, and now he has his own like line of bike bags and stuff. This is actually, this is not his bike bag, but this is modeled exactly after his bike bag, but this is just made by someone else. But his bike bags are very similar.
And you put so much importance, like you said, like on like you want to have a good tent, a good bag, a good bike. These are very much like extensions of you, kind of like how phones are the extensions of a lot of us. It seems like your bike's more of an extension of you than like your phone or something like that.
Oh, that 100%.
It's such a good characteristic.
I definitely have a phone addiction. I would say like screen addiction. Like it's like my phone is like, you know, just like I use that just for like kind of just like, you know, if I never need to learn anything, just right on the spot. Right now, like, because sometimes I've got like, you know, got an Italian friend, so whenever I text him, I just like to get the Google Translate Italian version, and I'll just
spaghetti.
Yeah, I'll just text him in Italian to be like, hey, like, you know, like, just, you know, I'm here with the cheese.
Yeah.
And
it's like a Sopranos me on. I've seen its inarticulate Italian noises.
So I just like to use the phone for a lot. I pretty much make it like a Swiss Army knife. Kind of, you know, skills that I need.
Except it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, exactly. Like I spend all day on my phone some days, and I hate it.
But YouTube. 1.5 speed on those tutorials, man.
Dude, you got 1.25 when you're beginning, and then once you get used to the 1.25, then you can go 1.5.
Genius. And I kind of want to like reverse base, I guess, with talking about, because we've talked a lot about your process and mentality behind like making those biking trips and like the website process, but with grilled cheeses, with making them itself, do you have more of like a heightened or organized process now than you did maybe like 2 years ago when we first started? And like, if so, if you can share those details, I know that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Let's hear it, man.
So when I first started, I would show up to places and I'd be like, where do you want me, kind of thing, with my griddle and all the ingredients. And then it could be like a really small like countertop space, and I would just kind of have everything just jammed in a corner right there. So now I know to like be like, hey, I need at least like a table's worth of space, or like something like that, to like request that. And then once I got that, then I have like a certain layout I like to do with all the cheeses, all the bread, and then first things first, as soon as I get there, I'm just buttering bread, not even worrying about the cheese. And
you're not even saying hello at the door, you're buttering bread. Man.
Yeah, like you gotta get all the bread buttered right away, because that's the thing that takes the longest.
Right.
And there's gonna be a lot of people there who want grilled cheese, hopefully. So, and each sandwich takes 3 slices of bread.
Why is that? What makes the 3 slices so much better than just 2?
Well, I like to have a lot of variety in my grilled cheese. I want to have as many different kinds of cheeses as I can in there, and to make sure that it's not overbearing with the cheese, a 3rd slice of bread really balances it out.
I think Jack Harlow said something about that 3rd
He did.
slice of bread.
I don't remember the exact phrase he used, but
3 slices of bread. I've never experienced anything like that. The 3 slices set it off.
It was along the lines of like hit different or some shit like that.
We said the pepper jack hit.
That's right.
and okay, so you got the 3 slices of bread. And the cheese, I've noticed you're not a cheese aficionado in that you have to get the best cheeses. So why, I guess, is it not about that? What is it more about?
I think it's more about just variety overall. Like obviously you don't get Kraft singles. Never do that. That's a cardinal sin of grilled cheese. Never get Kraft singles, and never use plain white bread, because that shit's like too weak to butter. So I always use like sourdough or some kind of like harder bread. But those are like the basics of grilled cheese. And if you can get like a bunch of different blends, that's really good, because just like the more variety of cheese really like makes the whole flavor pop.
What's the most, like, I think I want to say almost like giddy you felt after someone took a bite out of your grilled cheese and they were just like complimenting it, or you, and like that feeling? Does anything stick out as like one person was just excited?
I think honestly, like the first, I'd been making, the 3 slices and all that stuff for myself for a while. And then I'd been just sending pictures and stuff to my one group chat of friends. And one day they were just like, yo, that looks pretty good. Come over here and make us some, And that's really what kind of started the whole thing, really, is make grilled cheese for my one group of friends. And they were like just ecstatic over it. And I was like, huh. They seem to really like this grilled cheese more than I expected. A lot more.
And that support too from people like your friends, so people that like you look up to in a way that like they're your peers, and you respect their criticism, and getting good criticism is just the best. I've noticed that too, because if it looks good and it's shit, they'll tell you like, yo, what the hell did you just make me, dude?
Yeah.
Like, so that's awesome. And also I think that's cool being like your first moment, and that's like undocumented.
Yeah,
no one can see that.
They didn't even have an Instagram page by then. They were just like, dude, you should like try to do something with this. And I was like, yeah, sure, maybe. I don't know.
And without that, there would be no Jack Harlow. Pepper Jack hitting different.
Nope.
That wouldn't exist.
Wouldn't even, 500 and something thousand people would have never seen it.
You know the vibes. I'm with the grilled cheese, dude. He got me right. Grilled cheese, one of mankind's masterpieces. Shout out to my man.
Really, like when my camera really first got stolen, I had a little Bob Ross painting phase, and I pretty much went from like never ever touching the paintbrush to like about a year later, I sold a commission for $400, And that was just 1 year with me watching Bob Ross and just painting along. And then I learned how to paint landscapes.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
And that's a learning by doing sort of thing too.
Definitely.
And that's what I tell people so much. And I have to repeatedly tell myself when I want to learn something new. It's like, I know it sucks in the beginning because it's hard, and you just want to be better so bad. You just keep going.
Oh yeah, and like,
did you find it relaxing when you were doing it too?
Oh dude, it's like, if you're ever stressed, just do that. Like, it is the, like, I would compare it to, because for me, biking, number one stress reliever ever, Bob Ross, like, just under it, you know?
Yeah.
And the one thing about Bob Ross is you cannot watch Bob Ross on 1.5 speed. Because,
oh no, that's terrifying.
yeah, he moves quick.
Fuel. Yeah, because he moves quick.
You gotta pause and rewind a lot.
And he'll say things, like he'll say very just, extraterrestrial sort of statements, and they're just like fluid, and they're just, he'll say it and then he'll be like, okay, and then you do this, brush.
Yep.
He won't linger on it or anything like that.
Just like, oh yeah, you know about this.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, you've been following along, of course. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah, and did you find, like, when you were learning, because especially when you learn from, like, one teacher and someone like Bob Ross, did you feel like a connection sort of to him as, like, not only just a painter, but as someone that you are digitally connecting with?
Definitely. I mean, like, he died before I was even born, so, there's no way for me to even, like, actually talk to him, but I definitely feel like, I know what he would have been like as a person, because I've done a lot of research. I actually had a idea for a Bob Ross biopic movie. I think that should be done. Like, no one's done that yet. Come on, Hollywood.
Come on, guys.
That's an actual, it's not a remake and it's not a sequel. Stop making Fast and Furious movies.
They're going to space, man.
Oh my god. Why? But
When he talks, but hey.
But yeah, dude, like Bob Ross, and plus, like, dude, like, all the things he says can just be implemented in life, like, it's like, come on, like, just, there's no mistakes, just happy accidents, like, that's like gold,
Sometimes those mistakes turn into be the best learning devices we have.